Have you ever wondered how the search for sustainable solutions intersects with global power dynamics and energy needs? Well, you need to start wondering. A major transformation is taking place in the heart of Africa as countries work to switch to renewable energy sources. Do you know that Mali and Russia have launched the construction of the largest solar power plant in West Africa? Will this also be the end of the electricity supply problem in Mali? Let's find out. But before we delve into this topic, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the New Tourist channel so you are always on board with all that is happening in Africa. In May, Mali began building a 200-megawatt photovoltaic solar power plant in Sanikoroba, close to Bamako, in response to ongoing issues with the country's electrical supply. Over 200 million euros have been invested in this program, which is being carried out in partnership with Russia. However, details on the progress of this solar plant have not yet been provided. According to Grigory Nazarov, chairman of Novowind, a subsidiary of the Russian atomic energy agency Rosatom, the 314-hectare facility is anticipated to increase national electricity production by 10%. This increase will result from new power plants, upgrades to existing facilities, and improvements in energy efficiency. In an address on national television, Bintou Camara, Mali's Minister of Energy, emphasized the significance of this infrastructure. She claimed that this facility will much lessen the country's present problems with blackouts and shortages of electricity. It is said that construction of the solar power plant, the largest of its kind in West Africa, is scheduled to take 1 year, with stable operation for 20 years. Is this not going to be a bold step in Mali? It is also said that this solar power plant is designed to come under full control of the Malian Ministry of Energy after 10 years. So, the first 10 years will be controlled by Russia. Bear in mind that thermal sources currently account for 70% of Mali's energy output, which negatively impacts Société Énergie du Mali. Alassane Sanu, the Minister of the Economy, noted that part of this company's debt, which exceeds 200 billion CFA francs, comes from the company's reliance on pricey fossil fuels. Is all this going to change with the coming of this solar plant? Sure. The construction of this solar power plant is part of a broader strategy to diversify Mali's energy mix and reduce its dependence on fossil fuels. The Malian presidency hailed the project as a significant step towards a more sustainable energy future. This shift towards renewable energy will decrease greenhouse gas emissions, contributing to global climate goals and improving air quality locally. The solar plant is also anticipated to promote scientific improvements, investment, and job creation, all of which will contribute to economic growth. This will serve as a much-needed boost to infrastructure, encourage sustainable development, and open the door for future breakthroughs in clean energy across Africa, in a nation where access to reliable electricity is limited. As we are talking more about this solar plant, which is to be the largest in West Africa, we should note that Mali still has other solar projects. Bear in mind that China and Mali are building a new 100-megawatt solar power plant in Safo, 20 kilometers northeast of the capital Bamako. Safo will be equipped with solar panels and will also include an energy storage system. Chinese construction giant Sinohydro will build the project, which is expected to be completed in 15 months. It is no news that China has teamed up with many African countries to build a good number of new energy projects. In many African countries, Chinese companies are advanced in owning engineering and technological advantages. For instance, Chinese enterprises are leading in wind turbines and solar panels manufacturing, in addition to construction machinery and equipment making. Africa is rich in solar, wind, geothermal, and tidal energy, and the investment of Chinese companies in clean energy in the continent has ranked first globally, setting the basis for further development. China-Africa economic and trade cooperation has already achieved fruitful results over the last decade. Official data shows that China's direct investment in Africa is more than $30 billion. Russia-Africa energy cooperation as well is becoming increasingly important at the current stage of the global energy system's evolution. There are about 30 projects on the energy cooperation agenda with Africa at the time of this video. Since Assimi Goïta took power, Mali has reoriented its international alliances, breaking with France to draw closer to Russia. This is no news to you at this time. However, one thing to note is that this partnership with Moscow extends beyond solar energy. Last October, the two countries signed a cooperation agreement to develop civil nuclear power. And in July, Mali's ruling military leaders strengthened its ties with Rosatom by signing 3 cooperation agreements. These agreements include discussions on the construction of a low-power nuclear power plant, a project that could further transform the country's energy landscape. Note that most of these agreements came after a call in March, in which Russian President Vladimir Putin and Malian military leader, Colonel Assimi discussed strengthening cooperation in energy, agricultural, and mining projects. Details of the low-power nuclear power plant have yet to be defined. However, this project holds great promise for Mali. It will be good for you to know that at the moment, the only operational nuclear power plant in Africa is in Coburg, South Africa. Rosatom, in partnership with Egypt, is also building another power plant, illustrating its ability to carry out complex nuclear projects on the continent. However, many have said these projects will take more time to be completed because of Rosatom's ongoing projects in several countries. Do you think this will be the case? Let's leave you to ponder on this as we continue. Burkina Faso is also about to sign a roadmap with Rosatom, which will enable the building of a nuclear power plant there. Ikuba Zabre Guba, the Minister of Energy, Mines, and Quarries for Burkina Faso, made this revelation in an interview conducted off-site during the International Forum on Nuclear Energy, which took place on the Russian territory of Sirius. Cuba claimed that the construction of this power plant will first assist in reducing the energy deficit and eventually assist all facets of Burkina Faso's socioeconomic life. Note that this agreement began late last year, in October, when the Russian company and Burkina Faso signed a memorandum of understanding for the construction of a nuclear power plant in the West African nation. This agreement was signed at the Russian Energy Week in Moscow, which was attended by Burkina Faso's Energy Minister Simon Pierre Bussum. The document fulfilled the request made by the powerful man, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, at a meeting with Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin during the Russia-Africa Summit. The agreement laid the groundwork for collaboration in several areas, such as methods for developing nuclear power, using nuclear energy for purposes other than energy in business, agriculture, and healthcare, building nuclear infrastructure in Burkina Faso, and educating the public about nuclear technologies. The idea of the Africa-Russia deal specializing in nuclear energy and high-tech products raises several key points regarding its implications. Among Mali and Burkina Faso's urgent problems are the jihadist insurgency, food insecurity, and poverty. Given its complexity and cost, nuclear energy is unlikely to be a top priority for their current requirements. Even though high-tech items have potential benefits, their effective utilization would require major infrastructure modifications. Africa's access to vital Russian commodities has been challenged by the continued aftermath of the Ukrainian war, indicating impending problems with food and energy security. Some foreign countries are alarmed by Russia's growing influence in Africa, while others see possible advantages. Many analysts believe that China is unlikely to help contain Russia, since it is often indifferent to the domestic political affairs of its allies. Both nations want to push the West aside so they may live together on the continent, and in the face of Western sanctions, Russia's reliance on China has only increased. Competition over Africa's resources could eventually become a fault line between Beijing and Moscow, and China's emphasis on maintaining stability above all else could conflict with Russia's attempts to foment instability. It is worth noting that African countries are at a juncture when opportunity and difficulty intersect. Their development depends on these important infrastructure corridors, which raises questions about possible exploitation and loss of sovereignty over economies and resources. To protect their sovereignty and national interests, these countries need to skillfully negotiate the conflicting interests of major world powers. The emergence of these corridors may bring about profound structural shifts in the political and economic systems of Africa. Strong regulatory frameworks, measures for transparency, and safeguards to preserve national interests and sovereignty might all be necessary. Do you not believe African countries can use the continuous struggle for influence between big powers to their advantage to get favorable agreements and infrastructure investments that support long-term growth? The creation of various infrastructure projects highlights the emergence of a multipolar world, even beyond these particular corridors. Major infrastructure and economic projects are being undertaken by several world countries to demonstrate their influence. Smaller countries now have more possibilities to negotiate better terms and steer clear of being overly dependent on any one dominant power, thanks to this increasing multipolarity. If Mali and Burkina Faso are accepting several projects from Russia, this only means that they have learned to negotiate better and favorable terms. As Mali steps into the spotlight as a hub for clean energy, the ripple effects of this project would definitely inspire similar advancements across Africa and the world, demonstrating the power of innovative solutions in shaping a greener future. Whatever the outcome, do you believe this solar project will take just a year to be completed as stated by Nazarov? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Do not forget to like this video and subscribe to the New Tourist channel. Turn on notifications too so you get notified whenever we upload videos like this. Thanks for watching and see you in our next video.